Did you know that pizza didn't actually originate from Italy?
Uh-oh. Well, them's fighting words.
I'm adding that to my list of really disturbing things.
Okay. You just have...
Yeah, I do. I'll blindfold you and shove it in your mouth.
Okay. Just
Oh my
missed
God. Skin of his teeth, man.
Then
The crust of his pie.
it gets crazier. The garlic
Not
butter
their
sauce
pizza
is fine. Everything
The
else
sa-
is
the
disgusting.
sauce is jacking off.
With his Sicilian bodyguards conveniently departing the patio area just beforehand.
Oh, it's not good when all your bodyguards have to pee at the same time.
Yup.
Yeah.
Viewer discretion is advised. So great. You're doing great, sweetie.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accent.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
It's real nasal.
Glad to have you
Right.
with us.
Right through the sinuses, just pierces through the sinuses. I need coffee. I'm Kenyan.
Oh,
I'm Lucy. I'm concerned about Kenyan.
I'm Amanda, and I am always concerned, just in general.
What are we doing?
We're doing the thing. We
Angela
have...
Bassett did the thing.
Did the thing. Did the thing.
I don't get that reference, but that's okay.
You're not gay enough.
All right, I'm having
Oh,
a
wait.
chocolate-covered espresso bean.
My fiance is upstairs in a therapy session, and I just screamed, "You're not gay enough!" like directly under our bedroom. So I'm gonna,
Because she always says that to me.
I'm gonna tone it down just a bit.
just while there's a witness.
Right.
Okay. We have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Breezy and the Rectangle Pizza Squad.
Okay, Breezy
Yeah.
is amazing. She is my friend. We have known each other for a very long time in the restaurant industry of Minneapolis.
And it's
Okay.
rectangle with a W.
Yeah, like
like
you're about to
pow,
get
wrecked.
Like Wreck-It Ralph.
And it is straight up. They just moved into this amazing space on Lynn Lake where Prieto used to be, my local friends. And at first I was sad that Prieto was going to be gone. But then when I discovered that Rectangle was moving in, they did so many cool things with this space. They added this like really cool 70s era lounge with one of those like mid-century like orange space age fireplaces. And like, it's so fucking cool, dude. Their bar is amazing. Like,
You love the 70s.
yeah, I really do. So Breezy and her partner opened this restaurant. It is, it's straight up the best pizza I've ever had. It's so
Well,
good.
Not only the best pizza you've ever had, but they were recently named the best pizzeria in the United States.
Yup.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to throw it in Zach's face.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that was after she wrote in about her fan pick. So I saw the headline like a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
And immediately emailed her and I'm like,
Screaming.
what the fuck? You're amazing.
They're the best. Yeah.
All right. Well,
The best.
when I come up in July, we should go.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's
Yeah.
happening.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
that's
Well,
happening.
Yeah, no,
Breezy-
yeah. No, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Breezy and the Rectangle Pizza Squad have selected the very on-brand topic of pizza crimes.
It's a pizza pie. It's a pizza crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will have lots of anecdotes and thoughts about pizza, but first, let's get to our wine crime pairing for pizza crimes.
Yes, our recommended pairing this week was also recommended by Breezy and the Rectangle Pizza Crew.
Recommended.
Recommended.
Funny.
Well done. I am personally not drinking it because I drank so much of that glitter wine yesterday that this
Amanda was so drunk for the drunk dive that she said like 4 words.
the drunk
She
dive
got
was
past. Like when she's tipsy, she doesn't stop. And then when she's actually drunk, it's just, I'm listening.
I'm using every molecule of my brain to try to keep up. And I like have to focus so hard
Then you can't chime in.
that I can't chime in. And then Lucy's drunk dive was like weirdly complex. It kind of.
I wove a whole tale.
It needed a flow chart that I wouldn't have been able to follow because I was too drunk. So I could not. We literally recorded that episode and drunk dive yesterday. I could not drink today. It was just not happening. So I am quite high. And actually, Kenyon's mom caught me on my front stoop smoking pot when she came to drop something off at the house. And
Did she know you were smoking pot?
I told her. I confessed. I was like, you caught me in my pre-show pot ritual. But okay, so I called Lucy afterward because I was actually like shook. Bill is home. He has a white minivan. It's parked out front. I am ripping this J that I got in New Jersey, and it's amazing. And I'm like halfway through it, and I'm not quite paying attention. And then I look up, and another almost identical white van is out behind Bill's white van, and I'm like squinting at it and like taking my did this van just duplicate? Like, I know I'm not that high, but one fucking second ago there was only one van, and now there are two. And then all of a sudden it's your mom emerging out of it in screaming, how warm is it out? I wore a sweater with like two scarves on. And it all hit me at once, and it was really a terrifying moment. And I knew you were writing your notes, so I called Lucy to ground me for a second before we started. Anyway.
Yeah, I was scrambling to finish my notes.
So I did not want to interrupt you.
Oh my God, good call all around.
Hi, Amanda's great in a crisis.
I love how we can be 35 years old and my mom can still catch us smoking pot.
I know! On the steps of the home I own.
And you still feel really weird about it.
Really bad. And then I called someone to make me feel better about it.
To be fair, we didn't smoke pot in high school.
We really didn't. Like, barely at all.
I didn't at all. You guys barely did.
Yeah,
I didn't.
We were not. Well,
I waited until college. I was too nervous. No, that was you.
That was
just
only
you.
Me smoking.
I was driving my mom's car.
You're right.
And Amanda was standing up out of the sunroof, just smoking a joint.
While you were blasting like Ace of Base or Celine Dion or some shit.
Can you hear my heart beating?
Anyway,
do you understand?
All that to say, I'm not drinking today.
Also, too bad you blew your plastic bag of pizza load last night.
I was so hammered. I had to eat. So all through Lucy's drunk dive, I was eating leftover frozen pizza that Bill had put into one of those like 1 gallon plastic
like a
Ziploc
bag.
Out of the bag.
Oh, no.
Just barely hanging on. Anyway, sign up for Patreon. It's worth it. So they recommended the Brut Piazza Grande, which is an Italian Lambrusco. It is absolutely gorgeous. We actually used to carry this at Harriet Brasserie. It is a stunning shade of pink because Lambrusco is like a sparkling red. Mm-hmm. This is like, it's like a deep magenta red. It's like a red pink. It's
like
freaking gorgeous. Yeah, like a ruby red pink color. It's so beautiful. It's nice and dry. Like you look at it and you see the color and you're like, oh shit, that's going to be sweet. It's really not. It's still going to drink kind of like a cava, like a nice dry Prosecco. You're going to get some like rose petal notes, some wild strawberry, a little bit of dark cherry. And then the palate is like super bright. And then it balances out with a little bit of white pepper. And then it finishes super dry and very clean. And then just like the effervescence of all those bubbles, it like fills your mouth and hits like all these different taste bud spots on your tongue.
And cleanses your palate and lets
between
you
each
prepare
bite
for the next bite of just like lots of mozzarella.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things recommended to eat with this wine is a good Parmesan, girl. A good hard parm.
Yes.
So
I love how I just get tagged in any Parmesan-related content on the internet.
Yeah. That's your legacy. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 11.5% ABV. It is a popper, like a champagne cork popper. This is my jack offhand simulation. And so you're going to want to be careful when you open it. You don't need a wine key to open it, but you want to like have a towel or whatever over it. And like I said, I am not drinking because I might die. So here's some apple juice. Cheers.
I'm not drinking because Derby is this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach thought it would be a good idea to also buy concert tickets for tonight, Thursday.
Tell them what you're
come
going to, though.
on.
I
And
saw what you're going to, and I'm so jealous.
What are
Tell
you
the
going
listeners
to?
what I'm going to.
I know that you're seeing T.I.
I'm seeing Jeezy and
T.I.
T.I.
You could
I
have whatever
love
you like.
T.I.
I know you do.
And I love
Damn
Jeezy.
I know.
It's music.
Can
I don't
I have-
know. They're probably problematic as
They're
fuck.
probably both really
I
problematic.
mean, who isn't?
T.I.
Right.
was my MySpace background
For a long
while.
time.
It probably still is somewhere out there.
Mhm. So I'm doing that concert tonight. Then tomorrow we have Oaks, which is like when the filly horses run.
Little babies.
No, not the
Philadelphia horses?
The
Oh.
girl, 3-year-old girl horses run.
Oh. The Philadelphia horses?
the
The 1/4 of a horse.
Oh my God.
female grown adult horses.
1/4
from
of a
anywhere.
baby female horse from Philadelphia. Okay, got it.
Mini pigs, okay.
And then Saturday is Derby. So I will be drinking for the next 3 days, but not right now.
Pump and dump, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm
right.
not drinking because I don't want to. Don't have a
Fucking-
reason.
Fucking yeah. All right. Well, cheers.
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 All right, Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych, I don't fucking know, for pizza crimes?
I got some psych, baby.
Ooh.
I've got psych.
Oh, shit. All right.
So to start us off, pizza, in case you didn't know, is a dish of Italian origin consisting of a flattened disc of bread dough topped with some combination of olive oil, oregano, tomato, olives, mozzarella, or other cheese, and many other ingredients baked quickly, usually in a commercial setting, using a wood-fired oven heated to a very high temperature and served hot.
Fucking yum. Can those be
Really
my
lovely.
vows?
Yeah.
Just the
Flattened disc of bread dough.
just the
Britannica
definition
definition.
of pizza. I do.
Served hot.
The margarita pizza
Yes.
is considered the most traditional pizza, and legend has it that it was named for Queen Margherita, wife of Umberto I, who was kind of like the first king of Italy.
Named after Uno cards.
Yes. Who was said to have liked its mild, fresh flavor and to have also noted that its topping colors, which were green, white, and red, so the tomato sauce, the buffalo, or I guess the mozzarella and the basil,
Buffaletta.
were those of the Italian flag.
I love a margarita pizza.
Me
Not gonna lie.
too.
It's just so simple, easy on the tongue.
Love basil.
You can get it anywhere.
Yerm.
I love it. Well, my next sentence, Americans fucking love pizza.
Yup.
We eat about 100 acres of pizza every day.
That seems low,
What
honestly.
a horrific way
I
to
could eat 100
describe
acres of
that
pizza.
amount.
I love
know.
it. I love
And-
it.
Broken down, that's about 350 slices every second.
Oh, okay, that's really gross.
Does that seem low?
Yeah, you're right. That sounds a lot.
I make up a not
grosser.
small percentage of that.
Oh, same. Same,
Every
same,
second.
same.
Oh,
Oh my god. Ish. Oh, I hated that. Oh, no.
You're like a leaf blower, but the opposite way.
A vacuum.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, that.
Are you sure you're not high? Like a leaf blower, but the opposite way.
You guys, wouldn't it be crazy if like your eyeballs were like occasionally like covered with like flaps of skin and they just like disappeared into your face,
You
but
had
you
like
could like
little mini curtains that you could open and close.
Yeah,
like eyelids.
your eyelids.
We were talking about having a third eye on your forehead, but you'd need like a flap over it so you could like open and close it. Wouldn't that be cool?
I'm fucking so done. That's like what I.
Maybe like little hairs to like keep the perspiration out.
That's like when I forgot the word for donation, and I was asking Bill if he would drop off a bag of clothes for donation, and I said Can you take these to be put up for adoption? I could not say think of the word donation. Can you take these clothes to be put up for adoption, please? Placed for adoption.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay.
So, 350 slices per second. Pizza became as popular as it did here in the U.S. in part because of the large number of Italian immigrants.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot of us.
I'm
not Italian. I don't know why I said that. I'm Swedish. I'm really sorry.
You're French Canadian.
I'm also French Canadian and Dutch. I'm so
There are
sorry.
a lot of us.
I literally cannot get tan.
Pizza leaf blowers, but in reverse. I am not Italian. I literally cannot get tan.
I mean, I don't have a club foot, but
Okay.
Okay, between 1880 and 1920, so only in 40 years, Italian immigrants made up 4 million of the 20 million immigrants who came to the U.S. So, like,
that's a lot of Italians.
Shitload. Bringing with them their pizza making skills.
Yum.
Yeah, Italian immigrants first made pizzas in their homes and then would sell them in unlicensed venues before a guy named Gennaro Lombardi became the first licensed pizzeria. Well, G. Lombardi's became the first licensed pizzeria in 1905 in New York. This is disputed. Don't at me. Whatever. There's no way to know. It's just the general.
We don't know which one is the original Juicy Lucy, but it's Matt's bar, so everybody can just go fuck themselves.
It's Matt's bar, right? In the post-World War II era, soldiers who had been stationed abroad, often in Italy, but also like frequently elsewhere in Europe, where they also had pizza, came back with cravings for pizza pie. Meanwhile, Italian Americans migrated west, like into suburbia, introducing the dish to the wider nation. So pizza spreading in the U.S. for like several different reasons.
It's a pizza in the USA.
And also, as Italian Americans climbed the socioeconomic ladder, pizza came to be seen as less as like cheap ethnic like street food and more appreciated by the masses.
It's also just fucking good.
It's so fucking good.
Well, the pizza back then was not what we consider modern pizza today, which I'll get to
Oh my God.
almost right now.
Oh.
It also helped that the white veterans were also opening pizza places, so again, became more acceptable. Okay, so Neapolitan pizza was the most popular kind, made with buffalo mozzarella, which is made from the milk by specific buffalo in, I think, Naples.
Cool.
Okay.
And San Marzano tomatoes, which is a variety of grape tomato grown in Naples, and they come in those big yellow and green cans.
We'll get to those cans in my case.
I love having those cans in my pantry. Just makes me feel safe.
Because you could kill a man with them.
Because they're so big.
Aren't those the cans at the end of The Bear? That FX show?
I haven't seen The Bear yet. It's on my list.
So fucking
I
good, you
know.
guys.
I haven't even heard of that.
What?
It's with the guy from that show.
Wow. Okay.
I'll send you the link.
Shallow, shackled, shameless.
Shameless.
Shackled. Shallow.
We got there. Shallots.
That was amazing name association, word association.
We got there.
Shallots, Shyamalan, shackles, shameless.
It's like the son who's not. He's not.
William H.
He's
Macy?
not an attractive man, but for some reason he's
he's
a
super
really
hot.
attractive man. But he's got like weird eyes. I don't know.
This is all making.
He's a
no sense
male
to me.
model. You'd know him if you saw him.
He's Timothy Chalamet for 35
For
to
adults?
45-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
gotta watch The Bear. With these American pizzerias came the invention of the pizza slice. We didn't have slices before then.
Just had to eat the whole pie, the whole circle at once.
Yeah, basically.
Love it.
Cram it in. While pizza had already been a working class food back in Naples, its birthplace, the slice revolutionized pizza in the United States, making it even more accessible for busy workers who could now buy a single serving that they would eat on the go rather than having to buy an entire pie.
Ah, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you got a lunch break, you just buy a slice.
Did you know that pizza didn't actually originate from Italy?
Uh-oh. Them's fighting words.
Well, it is what is now Italy. Naples was originally founded by Greek settlers around 600 BCE, and pizza is known to have existed there before the city was unified with the rest of Italy in 1861.
Why is that entire sentence the dad from my big fat Greek wedding who could just make any word
Greek.
derived from Greek?
Invented by the Greeks.
That literally was invented by the Greeks.
So
Need
cute.
some Windex?
Put some Windex on it.
And I say, Efcaristo.
God, I loved that movie so much when it came out. Anyway.
That movie reminds me of your house.
Yeah.
Amanda.
My parents were fucking obsessed with that movie.
I watched it on bed rest.
Sure.
It holds up.
It's good.
So good. So the cheesy tomatoey version that we associate with pizza today was not introduced into greater Italian cuisine until the 1940s. So that means for a period of time, what we know now as modern pizza, cheesy tomatoey, was actually more American than it was Italian. Because
So they were more focused on like the dough and the other toppings.
Yeah. It was more like super old world traditional pizza, but we had like the sloppy cheese and the big fat slices for like a while till that went back to Italy. This is from Food and Wine. Quote, American appetites were changing, as was technology. This allowed for mass production in the decades to come. So like from the 1930s, 40s on. Frozen pizza and big-name pizza chains popularized the dish across the country, especially in the Midwest and the West, where there weren't large Italian communities. And where there were large Italian communities, such as in industrial centers like New York, New Haven, and Detroit, you saw regional Italian-American cooking styles emerge in the 40s and 50s.
Well, that's why there's New York-style pizza and Detroit-style
Chicago-style
pizza, Chicago-style pizza.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am.
Whoa.
So these eventually swept westward until you saw the emergence of a California pizza style in the early 80s. So
California
it just
Pizza Kitchen.
took over cauliflower crust.
Cauliflower pizza
Cauliflower.
crust.
Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars.
Yep.
Papa John's, boo.
Ugh.
Ugh, but the butter sauce.
It is okay, that butter sauce.
The
As-
sauce is okay. The pizza's disgusting.
I don't think the
Disgusting.
sauce is good. It's really sweet.
Not the sauce. I mean the butter.
The butter sauce, yeah.
Yeah. The
The garlic butter sauce.
Got it.
The garlic
Not
butter
their
sauce
pizza
is
sauce.
fine.
Yeah.
Everything else is
The
disgusting.
sauce is good. Jacking off.
The sauce. It's good.
The gentleman's relish. The gentleman's garlic butter sauce.
Oh my God.
Well, now it's all ruined.
Men ruin
As-
everything.
As of 2010, there were an estimated 70,000 pizzerias in the United States.
Now that seems low.
Yeah.
70,000?
Well, as of 13 years ago.
Yeah, it's gone up. Tell you
Probably.
what.
Okay, so we know about the big floppy New York styles. You got to fold them in half and eat them while like yelling at someone.
I'm a
The
New
deep
Haven
dish-
style pizza person.
What's a New Haven style?
It's kind of like the charred bottom pizza. It's like
Overcooked.
it's not overcooked. They put like a very specific like cornmeal on the bottom of the pizza and then they put it in a really 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 hot oven. It's more thin with kind of like a plush crust. And then it has that like charred cornmeal on the bottom just to add like this depth of flavor and texture. They're so good. I'm obsessed.
Yum. I like it when there's that roughage on the bottom.
Sandpaper crust.
Oh, it's so good.
We also have the deep dish Chicago style pizza that you need a fucking spoon to eat. It's basically a casserole.
Love Chicago, but I'm not a big fan of deep dish pizza.
Don't like the pizza.
It's crazy because like rectangle pizza isn't quite deep dish, but like it is.
That's Detroit style.
Yeah, it is
And that's
thick
good.
and it's so good. I
Like Emmy squared.
yes, like I thought I didn't really understand the concept of just Detroit style pizza until trying rectangle because I was like, oh, isn't this deep dish? I usually don't like deep dish. And it's like, no, deep dish is like so soggy.
Yeah.
It's too fucking soggy for me.
I'm not into Chicago deep dish, but I'm sorry, Chicago. I love everything else about you pretty much.
Pretty much.
Almost. I love almost everything else about you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know about those, but there are some other really bizarre regional styles that I have selected a few of. So first we have the Ohio Valley style pizza. So this reminds me of the pizza Lunchables.
Oh.
So it's like a pizza, but then they add cold pepperoni and cold cheese just at the end.
Ew.
No.
And the theory is
The
that
dough
it'll
like melts.
that it'll
Melts on
heat
top.
it'll heat in the box if you take it to go / the like crunchy the crunchiness of the cold ingredients is supposed to balance well with like
No,
the whatever.
Boo. Next.
absolutely not.
Colorado style pizza. They often put honey in it in the dough.
That's
It also has
kinda
a
good. I like a sweet and savory moment.
We'll get to sweet and savory. It also has a braided crust, and like the toppings in the middle are kind of like piled up like a mountain.
Cool.
It is Colorado.
Braided crust. Could you like
Never
pull
seen
the
that.
crust apart?
Well, the braided crust, it just reinforces it to like handle all the
Oh.
toppings in the middle so it doesn't all slide off.
Wow. Weird.
Like a cauldron.
I need to see this.
Like trash can nachos.
Yeah. We have the Altoona style pizza and Altoona, Pennsylvania.
I was just going to ask which Altoona. we're
oh, it
talking
is like pull apart crusty.
Crust?
That's what
Yum.
it's like.
Mhm.
Interesting. I'd try it.
Yeah. So Altoona style pizza is distinguished by a thick pizza dough, a ring of sliced green bell pepper, salami, and just topped with American cheese.
about.
Ew.
Okay.
So this Altoona,
That sounds really good in like at like 4 a.m. after
Yeah.
a full night of drinking.
Yeah.
well, funny you say that. It started as a quirk on the menu of the Altoona Hotel, developing an avid following among late night noshers. I
There you
fucking hate
go.
that word. Coming from a nearby high school football game.
They were hammered.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Then we have the Quad City Pizza. Quad Cities as in by the Illinois-Iowa border.
Mhm.
So they put malt in their crust, and they also
Interesting.
put their toppings under the cheese
That I hate.
Okay.
I
Oh.
do not like that.
because you can't see it.
I can't see it. I get it.
Usually there's always a hidden olive, even if you say no olives.
And I love olives. But the thing is, like, for me, it's a sensory thing. If I can't look at what I'm about to eat and then predict the texture of those items and I bite into something with a surprise texture, it will set me the fuck off. Like,
I'm the
I'll
same
want to
way.
puke.
The visual is half of the appeal of what you're eating, I
Mhm.
think.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's another Iowa one, which I didn't realize was unique to this region, but I fucking love it. Taco pizza.
Oh, so good.
Oh, yeah.
So they're baked with ground beef and refried beans and
Ugh.
topped with lettuce, tomato, and Doritos.
Yum.
And you're saying this didn't originate in Napoli?
No. Napoli?
Okay. Good to know.
Oh my God.
Did not originate in Napoli.
Napoli.
It was actually invented by the Bettendorf, Iowa-based chain Happy Joe's, which is where I ate it for the first time with Scott when we were on an Iowa road trip to visit his grandparents.
Cute.
I know. So taco pizza has expanded as far as the Middle East thanks to franchises of Happy Joe's opening in Egypt, Bahrain, Jordan, and beyond.
Weird. That's so weird.
But curiously enough, not a taco pizza to be found in Mexico.
And I
No.
bet no pepperoni.
No, probably not.
Then we have the St. Louis style pizza, which is made specifically with Provel cheese. It's a specific kind of, I think, mozzarella and an unleavened crust. So it gets like a cleaner bite. When you
Interesting.
bite it, it doesn't like stretch cheese and shit all over.
Huh.
I'm into
Okay.
that.
You do like a clean bite.
Hmm.
You
I like a clean bite.
small clean bite is
I
important
have
to
a
you.
really small mouth.
Fair.
I don't like it. I don't like having a lot of shit on my face. So, like I said, I do have some psychology for us involving one of the universe's greatest controversies, pineapple on pizza.
All
I
right,
love
let's
it.
say ahead of time what we think.
I love it. I think it's
Love it.
delicious. But I don't
I like it.
I like it less with Canadian bacon, like the ham, than I do with just regular pepperoni. I love pepperoni because it has a
I
little
don't
more.
like regular pepperoni, like at all.
Yeah, I like it. It has a little kick to it, and then with the pineapple, so good.
My ideal pizza toppings are pepperoni, pineapple, and mushroom.
Yeah, basically same. So good.
Yeah. I haven't had pineapple on pizza in a long time, but I'm very open to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like staunchly opposed to it like some fucking people
Some
are.
people lose their goddamn minds.
Mhm.
I know. Get over it.
Yeah,
cares?
we have
It's not
bigger
going in your mouth.
problems. Yeah.
So recently, the creator of Hawaiian pizza, a man named Sam Panopoulos,
A Greek.
yes, he died at the age of
Not
83.
Hawaiian.
He was neither Hawaiian nor Italian. He was born in Greece and moved to Canada when he was 20 years old.
Good for him.
And he came up with the idea for Hawaiian pizza in 1962 to attract customers to his pizzeria. This is from Psychology Today. Combining previously unconnected things is the seat of creativity. According to a guy named Henry, every creative idea is the combination of previously existing ideas or bits of stimuli into something new.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen.
Get out the pizza pie kitchen.
Get out the
palace.
oven.
Get out the oven.
So those bits of pineapple from a can transformed Panopoulos' pizza. Combined with ham, the Hawaiian pizza was born from testing things out in his restaurant in Ontario, Canada.
Connecticut.
He told the BBC, quote, "We just put it on just for the fun of it, see how it was going to taste."
And it's fucking good.
The entrepreneurial spirit in Panopoulos came through early. "We were young in the business and we were doing a lot of experiments," he added. With customers liking what they tasted, the Hawaiian pizza hit the menu in the ensuing weeks. And here's some more information from the BBC. Panopoulos pushed past the then standard toppings such as mushroom and pepperoni and turned to south of the border inspiration. In this case, the sweet and sour flavors which characterized American Chinese food.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep.
I can see that.
I do love pineapple in like a fried rice, not a fried rice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put it
Well-
in. Well, I think they do put it in fried rice sometimes, but also those like noodle
They do.
dishes, those rice
Right.
dishes.
Right.
Pork and pineapple
Yeah.
is in a lot of American Chinese food.
Like a spicy basil fried rice with like pineapple.
Yum.
Mhm. So it says perhaps influenced by the sweet and salty taste of Chinese dishes pairing pork and pineapple. I thought that was so interesting. So he's Greek, he's in Canada, he's like, wow, American
inspired.
Chinese food has
a
this
hit.
combination.
Yeah, and I'm going to name it Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
Which is an Italian thing. Talk about globalization.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a melting
The
pot.
story of Hawaiian pizza.
I loved that.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah.
But not everyone was fond of the notion of the pineapple topping. Not in 1962 and not even today.
In 1962, they put ridiculous shit in ridiculous shit.
Yeah. Everything in a Jello was a salad to y'all.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah. No.
Canned
Aspect.
fruit was what fueled the 60s.
Right.
Yep. In 2017, the president of Iceland visited a high school, presumably in Canada, and fielded questions from the students. When the topic of pizza came up, he told them that he would be in favor of banning pineapple from pizza if he could. The comment hit the news and social media, and the pizza furor over pineapples erupted once again about its legitimate place among pepperoni, bacon, and mushrooms.
Wow.
Yet the art of combining the previously uncombined extends beyond just things. Author M. Michalko, in their 2006 publication Thinker Toys, a handbook of creative thinking techniques, offered other ideas to spark creativity. Combining different fields, combining problems, and bringing together various domains. This reminds me of my drunk dive from last night.
Very complicated. And I feel like I'm hearing it for the first time. So carry on.
According to Michalko, Edison's lab was actually a large barn that had space for multiple projects simultaneously. So the effect was that it enabled him to permit one project to, quote, infect a neighboring one, thereby helping him to rethink his approaches to his various activities. The art of unrelated ideas brought together can help in reshaping and reinvigorating thinking. So the idea of mixing previously uncombined things is fundamental to creativity. Pineapples and pizza, thank you for this slice of innovation, Mr. Panopoulos.
It reminds me
Here,
of
here.
bananas and peanut butter. Like you'd think.
Yeah,
that'd be
wasn't
gross.
that like an
combo.
Elvis? Elvis really liked banana and peanut butter. It's so good.
So good.
Peanut butter and banana sandwiches, get the fuck out. They're delicious.
So good.
With like
Peanut
a little
butter
bit of
and bologna
Nutella.
sandwiches.
Oh,
That's
I gotta go.
I'll make you one next time you come over.
that's okay.
Yeah, I'm all right.
good.
I'll
don't like
blindfold you
bologna.
and shove it in your mouth.
Okay.
The textures of that do not sound delightful.
On toasted toast, blue bread.
Maybe. Maybe.
All right.
happen.
Well done.
Thanks.
Gotta go barf.
Okay. Well, once again,
Mm-hmm.
the fan pickers case was maybe the most dark ever. I say that a
No,
lot.
you do
Real
say that a
dark.
lot.
It's up there.
Okay.
And just a friendly reminder, you pick when you want to do the fan picker case
Sometimes
or
I
not.
want to go dark.
Most times.
Sometimes.
90% of times.
Don't
wanted
pass
to
the
do-
buck.
I wanted to do this one. It is a well-known case, but it still, for a long time, didn't get the attention that it deserves, and so
I'm
still think
excited.
it's worth talking about.
Also,
You guys probably
I
already
don't-
know it.
I don't know it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't even know what it is yet, but I can
You haven't
guarantee
started,
I
so
don't
I have no
know
idea.
it.
I don't yet know it because you haven't yet told us.
True.
Pick her,
Okay.
hardly know her. Okay.
All right. In 1988, Anitra Washington was a 27-year-old mother of two. On the night of November 20th, 1988, Anitra was walking to a friend's house to meet up before heading to a party together. But on the way, Anitra noticed a flashy car, an orange Pinto with white racing stripes on the street.
Ooh,
And she was like, "Dang."
tacky. Oh,
It's
dang.
It's the 80s.
The driver of the car saw Anitra looking, and he offered her a ride to her friend's house. She would later describe the man as not handsome, a black man in his early 30s. He looked neat, tidy, kind of geeky, and he was wearing a black polo shirt. So he looked normal.
Yeah. She wasn't
And-
like, oh, look, it's Brad Pitt rolling up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also
But-
not like a seedy guy.
Yeah, he's just a
Enough-
guy.
A
Just
guy, and he
normal,
offers her a
unassuming
ride,
looking
and
guy.
she's like, okay, she's getting checked out, whatever.
Yeah.
She accepts the ride and gets in. On the way, the driver tells Anitra that he needs to make a stop at his uncle's house, which I feel like always fucking happens and is always a bad sign.
Don't stop. Just go.
He does, but then she stays in the car. He goes into the house, and then when he comes back out and returns to the vehicle, his mood has seriously shifted. He is extremely agitated. He starts to yell and curse at her and is calling her by another woman's name.
Ooh.
I feel like there's an I Survived about this.
There definitely is.
Okay, I think I've watched or listened to this.
Yes.
Oh.
She's given lots of interviews over the years. Because
So I do know it.
Yeah.
I never know things.
Yeah. There's an I Survived about her and about someone else, and we will get to it.
Okay.
So then, without warning, he shoots her in the chest with a
Jesus.
25 caliber handgun.
Is he driving or is he still parked
He
in
is-
front of his uncle's house?
No, he has started moving the car. Well, it all happens very quickly, but he shoots her, and then she's in shock, and she tries to fight him off and escape, but he starts to drive.
And she also she's in so much shock that for a while she has no idea she's even been shot. Her body is just
Yeah.
in autopilot. It's pretty astonishing.
Yeah, the
Wow.
adrenaline kicks in, and you don't feel the pain, and so she's just knows that something has gone wrong, but
Right.
she's not
Clear on what it is.
you can't fully process what's just happened to you.
Mhm.
Especially because it happens so fucking out of the blue and at such close range.
This case is wild and this woman is fucking miraculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, speechless. Go ahead.
So she's in shock, tries to fight him off. He starts to drive, and he threatens to shoot her again if she doesn't calm down. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being too loud. You
Relax.
just shot me.
And called me, shot me in a case of weird mistaken identity all of a sudden.
Well, he's in a
Yeah.
Yeah. She then says the most spooky little bitch thing imaginable, something along the lines of, "You have to let me out of your car because if I die, I will haunt you for the rest of your life."
Love her. I love her.
That's my girl.
But at this point, she's losing a lot of blood and she starts to lose consciousness. In the moments when she comes to, he has now stopped driving and is on top of her taking Polaroid photos of her.
Ew.
Finally, she comes to enough to make another attempt at escape, and she manages to open the car door. At this point, the car is moving again, and as she's trying to get out, the attacker apparently decides that like she's too much trouble, or like he already got what he wanted, which was to attack her and these Polaroid pictures.
And I think he sexually assaulted her, too.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But she's like in and out of consciousness. He pushes her out the rest of the way and she falls out of the moving car into the street and she's half naked and still bleeding from being shot in the fucking chest.
Yeah.
Christ.
Oh, God, it's heartbreaking.
So she somehow figures out where she is, and instead of just going to the closest house nearby or like flagging down someone for help, again, she's clearly in shock, she makes her way back to her friend's house as planned,
My God.
only to find that fucking Linda has left for the party.
Without her.
Well, she might have thought she already left.
Yeah, she didn't know that.
I
No one had cell
know.
phones. It's 1988.
I know. It's just like such a bummer of a detail.
God.
So what does she do? She sits on her friend Linda's porch and waits hours for her to get back from the party as she's like slipping in and out of consciousness.
It's a miracle she's fucking alive.
Holy shit. How did she
she-
not bleed out?
She lost so much blood. Like it's she was
really almost died.
she was inches from death when her
Yeah.
friends finally came back.
Don't give it
So-
away.
So miraculously, they make it back and they get her to the hospital and she survives.
Jesus.
It wouldn't be until 2007, almost 2 decades later, that she would learn that she wasn't this man's only victim, that her attacker in the orange Pinto was one of the most prolific serial killers in U.S. history.
Oh my God.
So police officers came to the hospital to take Anitra's statement, and they had her work with a sketch artist to describe the attacker. The sketch is eventually printed on a billboard with a $500,000 reward listed. But at that time, again, it's 1988, she's a woman of color from a lower income neighborhood in LA, and investigators are really accusatory and dismissive of her. And like, if she hadn't been shot, I don't think they would have even taken her case as
At all.
seriously as
Yeah.
they even did. They would have, they'd been like, well, where's the proof or blah, blah, blah. But she
Right.
was shot, so they
Why
had
would
to
you take a
investigate something.
Ride from some random guy. If it's your fucking fault.
What are we wearing?
Yeah.
So they repeatedly insinuate that she must be a sex worker because why else would she get into a stranger's car?
There you go.
It was a
I
cool
mean-
car.
It was a cool car. It's the 80s. Everyone has been hitchhiking for decades.
Yeah. Fuck off.
You wouldn't say that to a different victim, but
No.
anyway. And indeed, many of the other victims in that area at the time were sex workers and they were chronic drug users. But like, so fucking what?
Yeah.
They're still fucking murder victims.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just classic. Okay. So police do catch a break, though, in that they are able to retrieve the bullet from Anitra's body. And then they were able to do ballistics on it and connect it to a string of other cold cases in and around South LA that media reports at the time were referring to as the South Side Slayer murder.
Jesus. Ugh.
Slayer.
That's so scary. Ugh.
So that's why they had the billboard and that's why there was such a high reward because they
Right.
connected her definitively to these other.
Yeah, because they never would have done that for this woman, this low income black woman
Who was shot and
who
raped.
was shot and raped and dumped on the side of the road. This poor, amazing, poor fucking woman. They would not have done that if she hadn't been connected to other people who experienced this.
It had hit a threshold at which point
They couldn't
there
ignore
wa-
it anymore.
Correct. So one killer was believed to be responsible for stabbing and strangling at least 13 sex workers between 1983 and 1985.
Holy shit. I didn't even know how many it was.
That's not even all of it.
That's just what
it's
they
a
could,
little
like, confirm.
complicated, but
Okay.
that's what at this point in time is what we're working with.
Wow.
At this point in the story, I mean.
Right. Oh, okay.
So the victims were all young. Most were under 35. They were all vulnerable Black women who lived in South Los Angeles, and many struggled with addiction. If you go, like, I can list it's complicated because there's like the South Side Slayer victims, and then there are the cases that we eventually conclusively link to who I'm going to talk about, and then there are others that like might be related. So there's a long list of victims, and we will get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, some of the murders that were originally linked to the South Side Slayer would later be connected to other killers, and investigators believe that some may have been committed by the women's pimps or clients because, again, they're working in a high-risk industry with survival sex work. So, like, there's a lot of other violence unrelated to a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
But that still left at least 10 known victims attributed to the Slayer. And we now know that that is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, God.
Yuck.
Oh.
So in 1985, the LAPD held a press conference and asked for tips from the public. Activist Margaret Prescott and others held weekly protests outside of LAPD headquarters in an effort to put more pressure on the department to solve this case. And they were advocating for a formation of a special task force to focus on these crimes. And they eventually did get it.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Prescott, by the way, super badass.
Mm-hmm.
She founded the Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Murders, and she highlighted the apparent lack of police interest in the Southside Slayer case by contrasting their efforts to those that were focused on catching the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, because he targeted women in upscale parts of Los Angeles and San Francisco and got a ton of attention and police.
And his MO was so erratic. His victims were so all over the place that they were more afraid that he would target more wealthy white
women.
people.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they were, And this was like, the numbers were insane and in a short period of time, but it was all like lower income victims of color. And they weren't doing shit about it. So Anitra Washington, it seems, is the only confirmed survivor of this attacker. Although another woman, Monica Hunter, also claims to be a survivor, and her story is very similar to Anitra's and very credible.
Yeah.
But she didn't report her rape and attempted murder to police at the time because she had past experiences with police and didn't think she'd be taken seriously. And honestly, she probably wouldn't have been. And she... So she just didn't want to get involved. And so now looking back, her case can't be confirmed, but she believes that she is a survivor of the same killer, and her story is like very, very similar.
Right. It's incredibly likely that she is, even if we can't definitively prove that she is.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So she was also like offered a ride by someone matching this description, and then
Pinto.
was
In an orange
attacked
Pinto.
and then was managed to like escape after he like took photos of her, basically.
Wow. Yes, it's so fucking bleh, it's gross.
So after Anitra's escape, two things happened. Her case grew cold for a while, like all these others had, but also the murders stopped. And they wouldn't start back up again for 14 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Was he in jail?
Well, we'll get to it.
He had to be somewhere.
Well,
Maybe.
so by the late 90s, and there's a lot of like BTK vibes to this.
Yeah, the starting and stopping and
So by the late 90s/early 2000s, the Southside Slayer Task Force is dissolved after years of leads going nowhere and no real progress being made in the investigation. And the crimes seemingly have stopped. So they're like, I don't know, maybe he died or whatever.
Right.
Like,
We have nothing new to go off of.
Yeah,
We're going
so they
to table this.
they got rid of the task force, which had been so hard fought to get. But then on December 28th, 2000,
Oh my God.
the body of Georgia Mae Thomas was found in South Park, Los Angeles, and her murder was linked to the MO of the earlier killings.
Whoa. Okay.
Then
The MO being like abducted, shot in the chest, or just shot and dumped.
raped and dumped. A lot of like dumping in literal dumpsters.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Yeah. Then in May 2007, DNA evidence was found on another victim, Janicia Peters, who had been killed in January of that year.
Okay.
This DNA evidence in the Peters case was then definitively linked to 11 other unsolved murders going back to 1985.
Wow.
Ugh.
So this shocking revelation prompts the formation of a new task force comprising of 6 LAPD detectives. So they have a new round of task force in 2007. An investigative reporter, Christine Pelisek from LA Weekly, not only broke the news of the task force being formed, but also took LA's mayor, who was Antonio Villagrosa at the time, and police chief William J. Bratton to task for not warning the community about a fucking serial killer in their midst.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in many of the cold cases, it was the LA Weekly reporters and not police who first informed grieving families that their daughter's murders were connected to a serial killer.
No.
What the fuck were they doing?
They were like, the police knew, okay, these 11 cases are linked through this DNA stretching back to 1985, but they didn't bother to tell any of those families.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And the task force had been dissolved in 2000, but then they knew in 2003 or 2005 that he was back
Right. And didn't
tell anyone. And then there's another victim in 2007. So they know, okay, this serial killer is back. They haven't said fucking shit to the
How would
public.
you possibly feel if like your daughter had been murdered and then the cops knew that whoever murdered her was out
at
again,
large again.
didn't fucking tell you?
Didn't tell anyone that
Ugh.
it's sick.
Also, like, if the families had known, they could have connected with other grieving families. Maybe they could have pieced together information and solved it faster. We don't know.
At least some kind of stability and support there.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Nope, they didn't fucking bother to do it.
Oh my God.
Side note, Lifetime did a movie about this case in 2014, and of fucking course, that movie version about a case with literally dozens of victims of color focuses on the white reporter,
Of
Christine
course.
Pelisek.
Yeah. Yep.
Jesus
Who was saving everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. No notes.
But, you know, Macy Gray is in it, so that's good.
Okay. They
Love
got
Macy
Macy.
Gray.
They got Macy. I loved that CD.
Ugh.
Both.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm sure she has more than 2, but she had
But
2
that, like,
bangers.
That first one of
I
hers
tried
that
to
came
say
out. Yeah.
goodbye
Yeah.
and
And
my
that
throat.
joke.
Yeah.
Oh, so
that
good.
one.
good. Okay, so who the fuck is killing all of these women in South LA for fucking decades?
Mhm.
Meet Lonnie David Franklin Jr.
Meet Joe Black.
Piece of fucking shit, Jr.
Yikes.
So Lonnie Franklin was born on August 30th, 1952. He grew up in South Central LA and was married with 2 children.
Totes BTK vibes.
Mhm.
As a young man, he'd spent some time in the army, but was given a dishonorable discharge after being convicted of gang raping a 17-year-old girl while stationed in West Germany in 1974.
Oh, no.
Tell me if any of this sounds familiar.
Ooh.
Franklin and 2 other servicemen stopped the girl and asked for directions. Then they offered her a ride home. When she got in the car, they put a knife to her throat, drove her to a field, and repeatedly raped her.
Oh my God.
The girl, the fucking badass survivor Quen, pretended to be into Franklin after the rape
Yeah.
and asked for his phone number, which he fucking gave her
Oh my
his real
God.
number because that is how fucking deluded these people are.
Well, and how fucked up of the cops she provided that information.
No.
This was in Germany.
This was in Germany, in
oh.
West Germany.
Okay.
She got his phone number and then she used it she gave it to the police, and that helped the police identify him. So they identified him, solved the case. He was convicted and he went to jail. But also during this rape, he took photos of her.
Okay.
So he's just reliving.
Well, this was like the early proof of his MO.
Yeah.
Like he clearly had built his MO at that point when he did this.
Right. That established his MO. So now he's just reliving that.
Right. In the
Incident.
States. Yeah. Oh, God.
So he served time in prison for that crime. I don't know if it was a military prison or not because he was like active duty stationed there when he did this.
Interesting.
But he was eventually released and moved back to LA. He held a few different jobs, including as an LAPD garage attendant.
Great.
Ugh.
If you can't
Making
be a
friends.
cop, at least park their cars so you get to know them.
Oh.
And as a city garbage collector. So it also like ties in with the dumping the bodies in dumpsters. Like he knows, like, I don't know if he necessarily used this knowledge because I don't think anybody was working that hard to solve it, but he might have known like which dumpsters don't get checked very often or whatever.
Or what areas are less surveilled or less well lit or
Right.
He had access to that kind of information to allow himself to be under cover in some way.
Right. Possibly even transportation. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's believed that his murder spree in LA began in 1984. He got away with it for so long because he chose especially vulnerable and overlooked victims, benefited from police racism and apathy, and caught a series of lucky ass breaks that helped him evade detection for over 25 years.
25 years. Like,
That's
that's
fucking
so
crazy.
many people. Oh, it's so scary. Ugh.
So
Are you going
scary.
to talk about his weird 15-year didn't kill
Yes.
anyone?
And I hope it has something to do with pizza because so far.
My next sentence.
Oh, shit. I knew I was
Please-
forgetting something.
Please, God.
My next sentence. But police would catch the luckiest break in the end, and we have a pizza crust to thank for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Detroit style.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Really get those tooth prints.
Ooh. A lot of slobber.
It was not tooth prints. I think it was just DNA. But okay. Because Franklin's first rape conviction happened in the mid 1970s, DNA was not collected on him at the time because I don't even think they.
We're doing that.
Yeah. And even when in 2003, Franklin was convicted of a different felony, I think it was weapons related, but I did not have time to check. There was no policy in place to collect DNA from all convicted felons at that time. That law wouldn't be passed in California until the following year. So he just
Oh my
missed it.
God. Skin of his teeth, man.
Then
year?
Crust of his pie.
it gets crazier.
That's wild.
Then Franklin's DNA was supposed to be collected while he was on a 3-year probation for that felony charge, but there weren't enough people to collect samples until 2005.
They were short-staffed.
They were short-staffed.
Oh,
So he
no.
slipped through the cracks.
Again.
And Janicia Peters, who died in 2007, would still be alive if they had collected his DNA then.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh
Yep.
My God. Oh my God.
Yep. Finally, in 2008, Franklin's son, Christopher, was arrested on an unrelated felony weapons charge, and his DNA was collected and put in the system, just like as a routine matter because he was a convicted felon. 2 years later, investigators looking into the Janicia Peters case searched the database for a certain set of parameters matching their suspect profile, and they got a familial DNA hit with the son.
There it is.
Yes.
So Christopher was ruled out in the Peters case because I think he was in prison at the time that she was attacked.
The son.
The son.
Okay.
But the father, Lonnie Franklin, fit the bill. But investigators had to be sure, so they needed a way to access Lonnie's DNA without his knowledge. An undercover officer pretended to be a waiter in a Los Angeles pizzeria.
Oh, there it is.
Where Lonnie ate. After his meal, the waiter collected his tableware, napkins, glasses, and a half-eaten pizza crust.
Oh, my God.
Which allowed detectives to obtain a DNA match, and they arrested Franklin just a few hours later.
Damn.
Wow.
Pizza crust for the win.
His DNA profile is Parmesan.
Yeah. Also,
Pizza
there's another
saves.
case in Forensic Files that I almost covered, but it didn't have enough information. But there was another guy who broke into women's houses and committed a string of rapes and was caught because he had bit into a pizza crust and then discarded the pizza crust on the floor of the crime scene.
See, there were quite a lot of pizza-related
Lots
crimes.
to choose from. I know. We might need to do
Choose
a pizza part.
from. Also, wasn't your cop on cop case had something to do with pizza? Kenyon?
I can't remember. That was a crazy case, though.
You did one recently that had something to do with pizza.
There's also Zach's favorite pizzeria restaurant in Brooklyn, L&B Spumante Gardens. The owner was killed in what is widely believed to be a mob hit a few years ago.
We'll get to the pizza mob.
There was a lot to choose from. Anyway. Okay. So then they arrest him, and then when they search his home, they found hundreds of photographs of his victims in a stash in his garage.
Oh,
Stashes of Polaroids that's so gross.
It's
There are
terrifying.
photos on the drive of poster boards of the Polaroids blown up that police have put together.
But are those just headshots of the victims?
Some of them are the Polaroids that he took, and
Yeah,
some of
he
them
would
are
take- he-
headshots of known victims.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Wow.
They also found women's jewelry, the IDs of several women who were and still are missing, including the school ID of 18-year-old Ayala Marshall and the Nevada driver's license of 29-year-old Rolenia Morris. They also found the 25 caliber handgun that was used to kill one of his victims, Janicia Peters, who was his last known victim. Franklin ended up being charged for 10 murders and 1 attempted murder. So that's the Anitra Washington case. There were other murders that he is very seriously suspected of committing, but police chose not to charge him for those crimes due to lack of evidence and fear that it would slow down or muddy the trial. They already had 10 really solid cases. For example, he was never convicted for Georgia May Thomas in 2003, even though the MO really matched and he did it.
Yeah.
But he was for the murder of Princess Cheyenne Bertholomeu. And remember Anitra and her immense help to law enforcement. The billboard that she helped create based on her police, just her description to police of the sketch, was put up in Franklin's neighborhood. And it spooked him so much that it's one of the reasons why he stopped his spree for so long.
No way.
Oh, and that was just a coincidence?
Well, he abducted her. I think
In
it was
that
a crime
area.
of opportunity. It was in the neighborhood.
So I think she put piece 2 and 2 together that he was probably from fairly nearby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yes, maybe it was somewhat of a coincidence that she really nailed the location, but she was using fact-based,
Yeah.
Well,
in
Well, it's not like
evidence-based
she was
theory.
the one who rented a billboard, so...
no, but her information to police.
Right.
shows
So
the location
so the
of the billboard.
Whatever. Yes. I think it can be both.
This next sentence. So in hindsight, we also know that Anitra even led police to a house just 3 doors down from where Franklin lived at the time. So she was close. She was
Yeah.
I think
it was right around
I think it
here.
was right around here.
Oh,
I think
that's right,
I've
'cause
seen
she
the
took
car.
him- he took her to his uncle's house or whatever,
Yeah.
and they sat there for a while before she was attacked.
Yes.
So she could get an idea of what general area she was in.
Yes.
And then from the
So-
uncle's house is when all of this shit started.
Do we
Okay.
know that was that he actually went to his uncle's house?
I don't know if it was literally his uncle or what house it was, but she led them to a house that was super fucking close to where he actually was living at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the right
Nice.
house. They searched the house that she thought it was, and they didn't get anything, but she was really close.
Mm-hmm.
She was really, really fucking close. Also, if they had searcched for people who lived near that
Canvassed
house
the area
and
yeah.
realized, oh, there's a guy here, he's got a conviction for a rape where he abducted someone and then took Polaroids of her, maybe they could have solved it in 1988. I
Right.
don't
Wow.
fucking know.
Right.
That was public information.
Yeah, the fact that he already had the conviction with so many original details of his MO.
Yeah. Maybe you
And they
could have
didn't
looked up sex
fucking look
offenders
into
who
it.
live within 3 doors of where the victim points to.
Oh my God.
Could have been solved in 88. Anyway.
That's so fucking frustrating.
So, okay. Also, the billboard stopped his spree. Okay, so the pause in the crime spree is why the South Side Slayer was given the new nickname in the second round of the Grim Sleeper because he had taken a 14-year break from his crime. So it was kind of like he had been like asleep.
Asleep and then woke back up.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, really? That's why they
Yeah.
call him that?
Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
Yep.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh, that gave me, full body chills.
I'm adding that to my list of really disturbing things.
Okay. You just have.
Yeah, I do.
No,
I wrote the
don't
the solar temple, the bodies in the
Yeah.
shaped like a sun.
I don't want more details.
Get a
We don't
binder.
need to know anything about that list. If you want to talk to Kendon about it privately, you can text her.
I wasn't
little-
offering up
Her
my
little
list.
happy hot pink post-it
No,
note. of
Kenyon
super dark.
is. You weren't offering it up. I could feel Kenyon wanting to know what's on that list. I'm shutting it down.
It's a short list so
shunning
far.
it.
Sh-
I'm shunning it down.
I'm shutting it down.
I'm shunning this.
I'm shutting this organization.
She needs to be shaved.
She needs to be shaved. Shaving grace.
So many consider this to be California's highest profile case that used familial DNA matches. And there was a fear at the time that this whole thing would be challenged in court because of how they
So
got it
new.
through the sun and everything was so new. So from the San Diego Tribune, California Attorney General Jerry Brown said it marked the first time in the nation that familial DNA had been used to break a case of such magnitude. He expects legal challenges, but believes the case will hold up to scrutiny, in part because officials only searched DNA from convicted felons and were careful to limit the search to a smaller universe of samples that bore certain predetermined genetic markers.
Wow,
So because
okay.
it wasn't just like a blanket, like, put it in the system, see if anything pops up. It was like they
Very
were
specific.
searching for a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
They think it'll hold up. And so far it has held up.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
After a 3-month trial, the jury found Lonnie Franklin Jr. guilty and sentenced him to death. But on March 28th, 2020, he was found dead in his prison cell.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he gone.
Wow.
How?
According to the Department of Corrections statement, the cause of death is not clear. There were no signs of like physical trauma.
Maybe he just like had a heart attack or
Yeah,
like a sudden coronary
something.
event.
I mean, he was not like in great shape.
Wouldn't
And
they
he-
have done an autopsy on him or not really?
I don't know.
On a prisoner? Would they waste those resources?
Maybe not.
I say
think if
waste
they're-
very loosely.
Yeah, I think that if there wasn't like an obvious sign that would require some kind of investigation, I could see them not
And he's on death row already.
doing that.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
yeah.
Woof.
Also, it's March 2020.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
it could. Okay, so it could be a few different things. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe he. What? Maybe.
He succumbed to COVID.
Maybe he did.
I mean, it's possible.
Or
there's nothing to
pancreatic
indicate
cancer.
that he did. I don't know. Most importantly of all, there are still 35 women in Franklin's photos that have yet to be identified.
Oh,
No.
The Los Angeles Times made a video after Franklin's sentencing to help to ask people to help identify the women in the photos. So we will link to that. And
35?
yeah,
Oh
that
my
haven't been
God.
identified. He had so many victims, you guys.
That's so sad.
I really hope that any connections can be made for these women so that their families can finally have some semblance of peace.
Yeah, I'm not gonna include photos that this fucking serial killer took of victims on our blog, but
Yeah.
we will link to the video if people want to try to help identify victims.
Yeah.
How many
That's
total
the right way to go.
victims did he have?
I mean, that's really hard to say.
Or do they know of?
He was convicted for 7 of the original Southside Slayer ones.
But there could be upwards of like 50-ish victims.
Yeah. It's complicated because he was convicted for 7 of what they believed were the Southside Slayer ones, plus 3 or 4 more that happened later, plus these 35. Yeah.
Math.
a lot.
Jesus. That's a lot.
It's terrifying.
Grim sleeper. I can't.
I think there are
nope.
17 named victims that are likely attributed to him. Yeah. Depends on how
Wow.
you slice it.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'd only heard her. She has an I Survived podcast episode. So I'd only heard her retelling of her attack and her survival of the attack. I actually didn't know, like, really any of the details of how prolific this guy was. I knew he was a serial killer because the episode was like, I survived a serial killer or some shit like that. But there was so much more to this case. It's really fucked up.
Monica Hunter, the other one that can't be definitively linked, she's also done, I believe, an I Survived episode. And no, my brain is glitching out. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Wow. Well done. What a doozy to take on.
Yeah.
Shit. My case is a lot less dark, so at least we'll end with that. And has a lot more to do with pizza.
Good.
Okay, are you ready for my case? It's going to feel very much like a palate cleanser after that whole
I
experience.
invite that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Ready for that.
Not that, like, fucked up shit didn't happen, but it's just a little bit less intense.
Oh, you didn't have 53 victims? Or whatever.
I mean,
Depending on how you tally.
depending on how you look at it, I had a lot more than that. But anyway.
Oh, God. Okay.
So the 80s were wild, y'all. We know this. Wild West. Drugs were big. Cord was huge in Minnesota. And heroin and coke were tap dags. There were many nefarious mobs, rings, cartels, etc., but none as savory and delicious as the pizza connection.
Ooh.
The
Fucking
California
yum.
pizza
The California pizza connection.
That sounds like a pizzeria in an airport.
Yeah.
Well,
The pizza connection.
that would be brilliant.
Would be.
We're opening that. That's the next wine and crime
Why not? We have all
portfolio
the skills.
diversification. Yep.
All the qualifications.
Let's go. So from 1979 to 1984, the Sicilian Mafia used a network of mom and pop pizzerias across the Northeast and Midwest United States to distribute over $1.6 billion worth of heroin.
Oh, wow.
From mom and pop pizza shops in the Midwest?
Yep.
the Northeast.
And Northeast. It was mostly in New York. And like a lot of the mom and pop shops were opened by Sicilian mob family members.
L&B Spumante Gardens, maybe.
I mean,
Let's see when it opened.
take a look see. If it opened before 1984, it could have been. Lord only knows.
Are we waiting for you to Google this?
It might take a second. Continue. I'll chime in.
Okay. So this is a quote from allthat'sinteresting.com, one of my faves. Quote, the pizza connection spanned the globe, bringing the Sicilian mafia into contact with heroin producers in Southeast Asia and mob-run pizza shops in the U.S. for years.
Spumante predated it.
Okay. So no,
But
then
still.
it still could have been used though. An
Yeah.
existing pizza shop could be used. So for years, the FBI infiltrated the mafia and dug up dirt on the pizza connection. And eventually, the investigation involved agents from Europe and Central America playing key roles.
Good Lord.
It's international. And disclaimer, we have absolutely discussed a lot of the folks that are going to come up in this case because we've done mob cases.
Adjacent
stuff before. So you're going to recognize some of these names. But I'm just focusing specifically on the pizza connection ring for this particular episode for obvious reasons. So how did this brilliant and savory, tasty, delicious enterprise begin?
Ooey gooey.
Ooey gooey enterprise.
Stretchy.
Cheesy. Obviously, like anything in the mob, it began with a death. Mob boss Carmine Galante of the Bonono family, et tu bananas?
Et tu banana.
Bananos?
Banano. Oh no, banano.
Oh no, Bonono. Had been serving time in prison from about 1962 to 1974 for dealing narcotics.
That's a long stretch.
It's a long stretch. They got him on like a hot 12 plus years. While he was in prison, he'd appointed a team of Sicilian mafiosi to run the East Coast faction of the Bonono heroin ring. He left them with the instructions to connect with contacts he had in pizza parlors all over New York.
I love it.
But folks on the outside were getting tired of Galante trying to have his cake and eat it too and like run the ring
pie.
from prison. His pie. His big wet pie.
He wanted a piece of the pie.
Yeah, he wanted to keep being the boss from prison, but it's like, we don't know when the fuck you're actually going to get out. This is going
12 years
like,
is a long time to
it's-
be suspended.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're getting sick of him, and he knew that people were like wanting him out. So he was building these relationships with more, basically just like street toughs, goons. They were called like the Zips or something. It was very ridiculous. And so he's like he's surrounding himself with more and more of these like unhinged zips.
Zoot suit riots.
Zoot suit zips with nothing to lose, just like fucking shit up in the streets. And the Bonotto family is like, I'm fucking done with your bullshit. Like, this is getting out of hand. So they appointed a new boss to take over, but Galante was not having it and wanted the heroin trade for himself. So the Bononos did what you would expect them to do and had him murdered after he got out of prison. So, quote, on July...
They knew where he was going to be.
I mean, they knew exactly where he was going to be. Thank God. On July 12th, 1979, Galante had finished lunch on the rear terrace of Joe and Mary's restaurant on Knickerbocker. 3 men in ski masks burst into the back garden and shot Galante to death,
Oh, no.
with his Sicilian bodyguards conveniently departing the patio area just beforehand.
Oh, it's not good when all your bodyguards have to pee at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like in any disaster movie when like all the animals are running in the same direction.
Yeah.
Like,
All the rats are like running.
pay attention. Something's coming.
There are
and
no
it's-
birds in the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
It's too quiet. It's
Yeah.
not good. But Galante's death didn't end the pizza connection. It just fell into new hands. Those hands belonged to Salvatore Toto Catalano.
Toto.
Toto
Jordan
Catalano.
Catalano.
Exactly. Who was seeing the effects of their heavy heroin distribution in the Bushwick neighborhood and decided to expand outward to Queens because basically everyone in Bushwick was like too fucked up on their heroin. And as a result, their sales were taking a hit because they had like a less reliable clientele because they were like dying and also like too fucked up on heroin. So they had to distribute to new people. It's like so fucked up. Catalano opened a bakery in Middle Village where the quiet suburban environment was the perfect cover for what became the epicenter of an international heroin ring.
Great.
A Queen's Bakery, man.
Like, who would suspect? So this was truly the most Italian operation of all time, like stereotypically so. Quote, the pizza connection worked like this. The Sicilian mafia converted morphine paste from Turkish suppliers into heroin through their Palermo-based labs.
Okay.
The
Is
heroin,
that how that works?
you can get the paste from Turkey. I mean, it has to go through a lot of hands in a lot of other countries, so it can't be immediately traced to like.
Well, I know.
One
I mean,
spot.
like chemically.
I
So
think so.
heroin comes from morphine.
I think you can make it that way. I don't know.
Heroin and morphine are essentially the same thing, I think.
Yeah, I think they're all very similar. I
I'll
mean,
add that
if you
to my
want to look
list.
that up, go ahead. I'm just going to trust the professionals.
I'm Googling it.
Great.
Thank you.
So the heroin was then smuggled into the U.S. inside of tins of San Marzano tomatoes.
There it is.
Those giant cans
Amazing.
of tomatoes. The cans of tomatoes then shipped to the pizza parlors in rural towns and small, like little New York boroughs across the East Coast and the Midwest.
Because everyone used those tomatoes.
Exactly. So then from the pizza parlors, the drugs and the
Okay.
cash. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So basically, opium is derived from poppy plants. Morphine is a natural substance taken from the seed pod of opium poppy plants. And heroin is an opioid drug derived from morphine. So poppies, opium, morphine, heroin, then other
It's
opioids
all the same,
like
like,
Vicodin and
OG plant.
Oxycontin and yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Thank you.
So from pizza parlors, drugs and cash in the Midwest would make their way back to New York. So they would initially be sent to the Midwest pizza parlors. Then the drugs and the cash that they were
laundered.
smuggling, are laundered essentially, sent back to New York via cars and buses.
So
The
maybe
drugs-
Americans aren't eating that much pizza. We're just
I mean-
laundering a lot of heroin money.
I mean, but also, if we're all on a bunch of fucking drugs, we probably still are eating that much pizza.
Yeah.
1,000 acres a day or whatever.
Yeah, you need your heroin snack. So the drugs go back for further distribution. The cash is sent overseas in various covert shipments.
Mm-hmm.
An 8-year period of this ring saw $60 million in small denomination dollar bills smuggled or transferred from New York to Switzerland. That's just one of
Period.
the spots where that smuggling of cash was happening.
Oh
Because
my
cash was still
God.
moving to other countries to pay suppliers and still being used
That's
in the
just
States.
the small bills. That's just like
Yeah.
the,
The 5
money
cents.
from the street.
Yeah, that's the extra that we have to hide. $60 million in the 80s.
Wow. It's a lot
Yeah.
of pizza.
It's a lot of fucking pizza.
Mm. It's a lot of cheese.
So it go to Switzerland,
Bread.
Italy, and Turkey to just be kind of hidden offshore.
Flattened dough.
Oh, yeah.
lot of unleavened dough. They made love. So they were literally smuggling hard drugs in those giant cans of crushed tomatoes that you see like adorning the walls of Punch Pizza.
Yeah. They're so aesthetic.
So they're gorgeous.
Great design.
Kenyon's Pantry.
Love it.
It was also pretty easy to keep this ring going despite investigation into their operation because it spanned so many different jurisdictions and required the cooperation of a lot of different departments to nail them down, and we'll get to it. And so, if there is something we know about the cops, it's that like teamwork across departments is pretty
Their
slow.
strong suit.
Yeah, and expensive. And this required some intense cooperation. So to finally get somewhere in this case, it took the New York Police Department, the Drug Enforcement Administration, so the DEA, U.S. Customs, and international authorities, including FBI International Legal Attaché offices in Italy, Sicily, Spain, Switzerland, Turkey, Brazil, Canada, Great Britain, Germany, and Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty sweeping.
Little bit of a big endeavor.
Hmm.
So an investigation was underway, regardless of like the massive scope of this. They were like, we have to try. We can't just ignore that this is happening pretty blatantly. And they started to surveil known members of the pizza connection. They would be spotted coming in and out of the pizza parlors and using payphones to connect with other factions around the United States and abroad. They started tapping the payphones that they were consistently using and gathering evidence. However, code was always used to discuss the nefarious goods, and a lot of these folks did not speak any English. They were all like native of Sicily. And so not only
They didn't
were
have
they
enough translators.
well, so they had to bring in translators for like a very specific Sicilian dialect that they're also using code words in. So it was like, it took a lot of time for them to actually decode these conversations.
That's
so they would
genius.
It's like some black hand shit.
It really is. They'd refer to heroin as precious stones, shirts, and precious cotton.
Precious cotton. Oh, precious cotton.
So precious.
Precious
That's so
cotton.
cute.
It's very
One
gentle.
of Ray's nicknames.
My
Precious cotton. So from FBI.gov, quote, over more than 4 years, the FBI and its partners gathered a mountain of records and evidence and utilized an array of investigative capabilities. They conducted surveillance on multiple players on multiple continents, sometimes around the clock. They traced and analyzed thousands of telephone calls, often from remote payphones. Since the conspirators mostly spoke Sicilian and used coded phrases to conceal their true activities, turning their many covert conversations into plain English was especially challenging, requiring a team of expert translators from the FBI and elsewhere.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Always
and-
speak your weird dialect.
Always. And we'll get to the thousands of hours of tapped conversations. Thousands.
Cool.
It's nuts. So finally, on one of these taps, they got a solid lead to a man named Gattiano Badalamenti. And he was in Brazil. He was a Sicilian mob boss who had worked under Toto Catalano, who had taken over the pizza connection in the US. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of like, Catalano was in the United States, Badalamenti was working for him, but was kind of also like on his level and took care of things abroad. They were pretty much at the same level.
Tier level.
By the time this guy actually got caught. So he's overseeing pizza connection operations abroad from like a seemingly safe distance. Mm-hmm. Agents track this phone call. They figure out, it's going to a payphone in Rio de Janeiro. That's where this guy must be. We have enough now to go after him. So agents are sent to Rio de Janeiro to apprehend him, but he's gone before they arrive, likely tipped off by some of his dudes at the States that they were onto him and they were coming. But he didn't make it very far. Quote, he had relocated to Madrid.
That's pretty far.
I mean, yes, but he was only there for like a few days, basically, before he got caught. So he made it physically far,
but
not very far in the
far.
grand scheme of things.
Temporally far.
Temporally far. He instructed his nephew, Pietro Alfano, a pizza shop owner in Illinois. So he's part of the pizza connection. He's the nephew of this big boss, and he has one of these shops in the Chicago area.
Oh my God.
So
I love Chicago.
Badalamenti is like, Alfano, I'm in trouble. Meet me in Madrid. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to get this shit figured out and under control.
I want to be able to say legitimately, meet
Alfano,
me in Madrid.
I'm in
Meet
trouble.
me in Madrid.
Meet me in Madrid. Don't ask questions.
Don't
There's
ask
no
questions.
time.
Yeah,
I'll see
literally.
you there in 22 hours.
If you got that phone call from me,
I'd go.
I'd go. What
I
a
would
great
literally
excuse
go.
to go to Madrid.
Yeah.
Even if it is bullshit. Hey, I'm in Madrid.
First of all, I've always
I'm
wanted to
gonna
go to
get you
Madrid.
someday to do that.
Second of all, I am way too curious not to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go. I'd
That's
have
what credit cards are for.
Yeah.
Would you call Zach and be like, "What the hell's going on," or would you just go?
Zach never answers my phone calls.
And I don't even know. I don't even know if I. No, I have Zach's number. No, I don't think I'd call him.
Just go.
I'd assume Lucy called him, and she would probably assume someone else called him, and none of us
All right,
would
this
really
is how
call
I'm gonna
him.
do my 40th
The phone
birthday.
tree would just break down. Yes.
I love this. The invitation.
The invitation will be
There's
a
no
call in
time.
the middle of the night. I'm in trouble. Meet me in Madrid in 22 hours. There's no
Oh my
time.
God.
Click.
Yes. Okay, I really want.
It's like kind of a kidnapping.
Yeah.
Kidnap light.
It's more of a luring.
Alluring.
Yes.
It's a gentle luring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
fake
we are
kidnap is not funny.
preemptively consenting to. Yeah, yeah.
Do
Fake
it.
kidnapping is
I'm there.
actually just kidnapping.
Yeah.
Okay, so meet me in Madrid, Alfano. I'm in trouble. Don't ask questions. There's no time. So Alfano is surveilled boarding a flight from Chicago to Spain. He lands in Spain, and Spanish authorities arrest both Alfano, the nephew, and Badalamenti, the boss. And they're arrested on April 8th, 1984. They're extradited to the U.S., they're put in jail, they're awaiting trial. After bagging this big boss with a ton of information and connections to the pizza connection, authorities were quickly able to make a fuck ton more arrests, because this basically just like confirmed.
Blew the case wide open.
Yeah, blew the case wide open, and then they were just conducting raids left and right. So literally the next day, April 9th, 1984, agents from 4 U.S. agencies and 7 international countries conducted a series of coordinated arrests, scooping up 22 members of the pizza connection, like all over the place.
It's a lot to coordinate.
It is a lot. At the time of the raids, William French Smith, then U.S. Attorney General, called it, quote, the most significant case involving heroin trafficking by traditional organized crime that has ever been developed by the government. Period. Full stop. In all, between 1979 and 1984, 1,650 pounds of heroin was smuggled into the country through this specific scheme. And I don't think that number accounts for the cocaine that was also being smuggled in and distributed on a smaller scale simultaneously.
So that's just
heroin. A lot of heroin.
That's just heroin, and that's just heroin through the pizza connection.
Can I get that number in acres?
Because like they were supplying the majority of the heroin, but they weren't supplying all the heroin to the U.S.
No, they were.
But that's a lot of fucking heroin.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. So these agencies had been compiling evidence for 4 years, which meant that when they went to trial on September 30th, 1985,
great day,
they were buried in exhibits to present to the court. Mm-hmm. They had over 55,000 wiretap tapes.
Oh, that would be so boring to listen to.
Culminating in like almost 30,000 hours of
Do they make a jury listen to all that?
I don't think they did, but they submitted they had to submit the separate tapes in as evidence, and I think a lot of it was transcripts that they would review because
give me
again,
the bullet points.
You couldn't really listen. Well, you couldn't even really make an American jury listen to these because most of them were in Sicilian, like Sicilian code, so they
even
wouldn't have understood it anyway.
That much would be.
Yeah, I think they just had to enter all of them into evidence,
to make
but then
sure
only
that,
used
the parts that they used weren't like edited or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They called over 300 witnesses.
No.
They had fingerprint evidence, they had confiscated drug paraphernalia, large amounts of cash, weapons, a trove of documents.
How long did this trial go on for?
We're about to get to it. Again, from FBI.gov, quote, the trial began on October 24th, 1985 with 22 total defendants in one fucking trial. All Sicilian-born men. As the government made its case over 16 grueling months.
Yeah.
Giving rise
just the
main case.
Side.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Giving rise to the longest criminal jury trial in U.S. history to this day. 2 men pleaded guilty to lesser charges. 1 New Jersey pizza shop owner was brutally murdered, likely a victim of friction between Catalano and Badalamenti, the 2 bosses. Nephew Alfano was later shot and nearly killed in retaliation. And that left 19 defendants by the time the jury delivered its verdict on March 2nd, 1987.
Oh my
three
God.
defendants were murdered during the trial.
1 almost murdered, 2, I think, successfully murdered.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yep. Pierre Laval, the federal judge presiding over the case, told the New Yorker's Jeffrey Toobin in 2009 that even he himself had grown weary. He later admitted that he too, of course, that he too stopped taking the subway to the federal courthouse in Foley Square out of fear for his life.
Yeah.
Quote, they killed judges all the time in Sicily, and I was counting on the idea of when in Rome, you know?
Oh my God.
You got to be careful.
You're just
Creepy,
a
right?
sitting duck for 16 months plus.
Plus for the rest of your life, basically.
Yeah. The prosecution team originally said the trial would last 6 or 7 months, and it lasted almost 17. What resulted was an astonishing legal circus that sucked in 35 defendants in total and cost at least $50 million. What unfolded at the trial was clear. Catalano and Badalamenti had established relatives and friends both in Sicily and in a string of pizza shops all across the country to run this ring. And the vast majority of those involved were Sicilian and did not speak any English, which produced one of the first major obstacles that dragged the trial on. It took so long because it's like, how do we even hear their fucking testimony? Everything has to be translated. So this is a quote from Vice News. Quote, by the end, only 19 people actually stood trial, as other suspects had their charges cleared. One of them, who is believed to have skipped town after posting bail, this is the New Jersey pizza shop guy who had been killed, was found dead in a garbage bag in Brooklyn. Oh. He was like brutally murdered. He wasn't just like killed, like he was like
and these are
partially
the defendants.
dismembered.
These are the people that were in on it who haven't
they didn't
squealed.
want them to talk.
They just didn't want, they didn't want to take any risks.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, these aren't even like the witnesses. These are just their
everyone,
friends.
Their guys,
the jury is probably unsafe. Everyone in there is oh my God.
Oh yeah, some of the members of the jury wanted to recuse themselves because they were getting
afraid.
threats.
Yeah.
Well, also not to mention you're on a jury for almost like
over
a year and a half.
Yeah.
You're supposed to like have your
2
job
pregnancies.
secured.
Yeah. I don't fucking know how people did it. And then the nephew, Alfano, who was shot, he was shot while lawyers were delivering their closing arguments after leaving the since closed Balducci's Italian market in Greenwich Village. Like he was still in town for the trial, and they were literally at the courthouse giving their closing statements, and this guy was like waiting for, an update at the pizza shop. He leaves, he gets shot 3 times, survived, and pled guilty from his hospital bed to just be like, I'm good. I'm just done. Just put me in jail.
Oh my God. I give up.
2 others pleaded out for lesser charges, and another was acquitted. In the end, while the rest of the defendants were given shorter sentences, the alleged masterminds, Badalamenti and Catalano, were handed 45 years each in a federal penitentiary. Badalamenti died in prison in 2004, and Catalano was released in 2009 after serving 29 years of his term.
Oh my God, Balducci's was great. I've been to Balducci's, I think.
It's closed now. Yeah.
What? Okay, sorry.
Sorry,
Continue.
bud.
That's the biggest takeaway from this case.
Oh my God, Balducci's was so good. Honestly,
Great heroin.
Great, delicious. Best buffalo mozzarella
morphine
heroin.
Paste.
Their fucking, God, what are those called? Their caprese heroin salad was so delicious. Okay.
You get a cannoli just stuffed with morphine paste. It was
Okay.
so
Cocaine cannoli.
That sounds heavenly. So the trial itself could be a whole in-depth podcast. Like it was way too big. It had way too many defendants that were being tried together. There were a lot of criticisms of it and continue to be in the legal community. It's like looked at as a case study in a lot of law schools because it was just too massive to make it even close to like a fair trial. It was also used as a launch pad for then New York prosecutor Rudy fucking Giuliani.
gross. Biggest crime of all.
Yeah, pretty much. Quote, the future New York City mayor and Republican presidential candidate was slowly constructing a name for himself with an image of being tough, like on crime, in a terrified city. This would later materialize in his grueling use of the broken windows policing model. And at the time, the mob was his public enemy number 1. So he was working on as a prosecutor on this case, and he was using it to launch his career.
Persona, yeah.
It was so sensational that like he could just do that, and everybody was eating it up.
Ironic that he then became
The
Donald
drippy man
Trump's-
that he is today.
I was
The
listening
melting
to
monster.
something this morning also mentioning Rudy Giuliani, and all I could think about was when he came to that pep rally in high school.
Yep.
And I met him, and he had the wettest, sweatiest, weakest handshake. It was a weak ass handshake.
So wet.
And like halitosis. He's just a disgusting man.
I mean, I forgot to brush my teeth today, so I kind of get the halitosis. But,
Well,
But I'm going to go
You're
do
not a
that now.
politician. You're a podcaster.
You're right. I'm alone
You
in a room.
work from home. Yeah.
I'm screaming alone in a room. I'm fine. So after such a huge and expensive trial, it didn't even have much of an effect on the mob, on like their heroin distribution. After it was all over, the mob was still selling heroin, just avoiding pizza shops and replacing their previous lackeys with new lackeys.
Yeah, you're not going to shut the whole thing down.
Nope.
Yeah.
So-
and they realized like how if they just make it more complicated and more sweeping.
They can go longer before they have to switch method.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So David Amoruso, an expert on organized crime, put it plainly, quote, the trial impacted the mob in that it shut down a very lucrative operation that was running smoothly and brought in a lot of steady income for American and Sicilian mobsters. But in the long run, however, it was business as usual. Heroin continued to flow into New York and other American cities.
Yeah.
They just had to switch up their method. That's it.
Now it's probably through like Chipotle.
Taco
franchises. Yeah.
Yes, that Wendy's in Minnetonka that you could get weed from the drive-thru.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, the one by the high school?
Yep.
Luck?
What menu item did you order?
I don't remember because I wasn't that cool in high school. So maybe that's not even true. That was just like a rumor that we heard. But we did always, like the Burnouts and also us, because that was our crew,
Oh, yeah.
always hung out in that Wendy's parking
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
So like, I don't know if that rumor's real.
Crispy chicken
but
nuggets.
Probably yum.
Baked
Anyway,
potato.
I'm starving and that is my case.
Amazing.
Isn't that wild?
I need
pizza connection.
Pizza connection.
Great episode.
It really was.
Crazy and
It was-
Rectangle Pizza Crew.
Yeah, God bless you.
Shout out to that fan picker. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.